Kansas Governor Kelly signs legislation creating a drug abuse treatment program for people on diversion through the courts.
President Biden meets with a key Republican to hammer out their differences on infrastructure. I'm Natalie Brand with the new timeline the White House has for moving negotiations forward.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Kansas will soon establish drug treatment programs for low-level felons. This is KOAM News at 5. On July 1st, a new law creating drug treatment programs for diversion for drug offenders who would otherwise face a felony will take effect. It'll be at the discretion of district and county attorneys, and programs will be run by each district court. Instead of being formally convicted of a felony, first-time drug offenders would be able to enter a drug treatment program if they meet certain qualifications. If they complete the program, they would not have a felony on their record.
I think it gives us another tool to use. The biggest problem is going to be, like with all other things like this in the criminal justice system, is how are we going to pay for it?
Tonight at 6, we're going to hear more from Hathaway on how this differs from drug court they have in the 31st Judicial District and what the county sheriff thinks. Joplin's Crosslines Ministries announces it will no longer provide direct rent or utility assistance. The organization says its funding for those services came from an external source, and Crosslines decided to no longer provide them directly. Crosslines will still help connect clients with organizations that do provide that assistance.
We want to see resources consolidated, in our community. So there are other places in town that do a great job with financial assistance. And so we just kind of decided, the funding we've been getting, we want to push it towards them. We want to help people to be able to specialize and just kind of stay in our lane.
Crossline says addressing food insecurity is their #1 goal, and this change will allow them to double down on it. Checking in with Nick Kelly. Overall, not a bad day out there, Nick.
I know, Dallas. It's been a while since we've been able to say that. We finally got some more sunshine back in play. And even though cloud cover is trying to darken up in spots, that's because our current storm system might throw a random shower or storm our way as the evening gets underway. That being said, much of us are dry right now. We had quite a bit of cloud cover this morning. Thankfully, dry afternoon so far. Still, though, our main storm system is working across southern Iowa, northern parts of Missouri. As long as that's around, again, can't rule out a random shower or storm as the evening gets going. But temperatures are a lot better. Some upper 60s south and east of Joplin, but everyone else is mainly in the lower to middle 70s. We'll fall through to 70s, down to about 60 by midnight, and then eventually another chilly start. But once we get past our chilly start for our Thursday, Dow temperatures looking a lot better tomorrow. We'll break down the rest of the forecast here in a bit.
All right, catch you then. Thanks, Nick. The White House wants progress on its infrastructure proposal by next week when Congress returns from recess. The president slashed his initial proposal down to $1.7 trillion, a price tag that is still well over what Republicans say they're willing to support. Reporter Natalie Brand is at the White House with more on where talks stand.
President Biden is looking for a breakthrough on infrastructure talks, inviting Senate Republican negotiator Shelley Moore Capito to the White House as discussions continue.
His approach is to look for ways we can find common ground.
The latest GOP offer proposes nearly $1 trillion for roads, bridges, and rail lines. Republicans want to pay for their plan by raising the gas tax and repurposing some of the previously approved COVID relief money.
I think that's the key to getting a bipartisan agreement.
The White House has said that would hurt aid intended for small businesses that are struggling through the pandemic. There's also disagreement over what should go in the infrastructure bill. The administration says the GOP counterproposal does not include its priorities such as fixing VA hospitals, removing lead pipes, and funding clean energy jobs.
While both sides have stated publicly they're hopeful for bipartisanship, Democratic leaders have signaled they're willing to go it alone if necessary.
We must pass comprehensive jobs and infrastructure legislation this summer.
But if Democrats use the procedural tool of budget reconciliation, which requires just a simple majority, they would need the support of moderate Democrats Joe Manchin of West Virginia and Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona. Both have expressed concern over the president's initial proposal to increase corporate taxes to 28%. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The White House says the president was not criticizing Senators Manchin and Sinema yesterday in his Tulsa remarks when he singled out two members of the Senate who voted more with Republicans, end quote. Press Secretary Jen Psaki says President Biden considers them both friends and working partners. Meat processor JBS says the vast majority of its plants will operate today after a cyber attack forced shutdowns in North America and Australia. The attack is believed to have originated in Russia. It has not been revealed whether the company paid a ransom to get its computer systems back online. This attack follows last month's ransomware attack on Colonial Pipeline, which Russian hacking group DarkSide claimed responsibility for and received nearly $5 million. Coming up in Health Watch, a possible new treatment.
Engineering robots with emotions. I'm Ian Lee with new science researchers say may help people with mental disorders.
And later, how death certificates are keeping some family members of COVID-19 victims from receiving Fema assistance for funerals. President Biden declared June a national month of action to get more Americans vaccinated. The president plans to recruit faith-based leaders, barbershop owners, and celebrities to encourage vaccinations. More than half of Americans over the age of 18 have already received at least one dose of a vaccine, and the president wants to get 70% of Americans vaccinated by July 4th.
If you get a shot this week, you can be fully vaccinated by July 4th, by the week of July the 4th. And you can celebrate Independence Day free from fear or worry.
Moderna applied for full FDA approval for its COVID-19 vaccine, making it the second drug company to do so. America's neighbors to the north are recommending mixing and matching vaccines. Canada's top health agency says citizens who received one dose of AstraZeneca can get either Pfizer or Moderna as a second shot. Officials say ideally they should be offered a second dose from the same manufacturer. Scientists in Italy are working to create a robot that can detect all kinds of emotions. They say the benefits could help patients with a range of mental health disorders. Ian Lee reports.
Abel is learning to smile, snarl, and frown. 20 motors under his artificial skin give the robot emotions just like us. Engineers in Italy hope someday Abel will be a friend for people with behavioral, social, or cognitive disorders like autism or Alzheimer's. This researcher says we want Abel to know how people are feeling, to keep them healthy, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. To make Abel look eerily real, engineers teamed up with special effects artist Gustav Hogan. His company has created animatronics for Hollywood hits Star Wars and Jurassic Park. Right now, someone has to wear sensors for the robot to recognize their emotions. The next step may seem like something out of science fiction.
To give Abel a human brain.
With the help of tissue taken from stem cells.
Organoids are basically an aggregate of stem cells which self-assemble and self-organize to resemble the structure and function of a mini human organ.
Scientists say that would allow Abel to read our expressions all on his own. And if they're successful, expect the team and Abel to look a bit smug. Ian Lee, CBS News.
Maybe a little bit of a creep factor there. Researchers acknowledge they are years away from their goal, but they believe Abel will one day not only be able to recognize emotions on his own, but be able to feel them too. That is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, our pet vet on call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to tell you how often to brush your dog's teeth.
Plus, we finally got to warm up today. We'll continue that trend into the weekend. Forecast up next. Surprisingly, Mother Nature gave us a pretty good Wednesday overall, and we deserve it after not only the rain over the past several days, going back to, oh goodness, 2 or 3 weeks. We needed it just from this week's rain alone, especially in our southern counties where ever since Sunday we've seen 1/2 inch to almost 3 inches of rainfall. Fortunately, not seeing a lot of action on the radar at 5:14 on this Wednesday evening as our evening gets going. Maybe a few little sprinkles between Marionville and Republic as you work closer to Springfield. Maybe a few quick downpours between Sedan and Cedarvale in our far western counties. But overall, we went from mostly cloudy skies this morning to more sunshine that helped push you into the mid-70s, especially on the Kansas side. And eventually, this stubborn storm system is going to start taking away some of this cloud cover to finally give us some decent days, something we haven't been able to say since I don't know when. But temperatures have definitely improved in Joplin compared to yesterday. Only mid-60s yesterday, upper 50s to near 60 this morning, and at least back in the lower 70s, including our current reading from the airport at 70. A north breeze of 7. Humidity not too terrible at 71%, with more partly sunny skies appearing up top. In our southeastern counties where you have more cloud cover during the day, you did improve compared to yesterday, but the cooler spots, if you want to call it that, mainly mid to upper 60s. But once you go from Joplin north and west, you go from 70 in downtown Joplin to 78 in Chanute. So these are definitely a big improvement compared to our struggle to warm things up for many of you yesterday. Going through the evening, we'll fall back through the 70s, down to 60 by midnight, let's say mid to upper 50s overnight, and again, maybe a random shower, quick storm with our remaining cloud cover in place. But overall, you can see how the big rain and better rain chances so far today have been well to the east of us. No big surface features driving our weather, and it won't be long before this stubborn upper low finally decides to move along, and that will finally, again, give us some well-deserved dry time. Here's how we go for the rest of the evening. Well, I'll still keep an eye on the radar in case a random shower or storm pops up, but most of you are dry this evening. Partly cloudy skies might try to turn mostly clear by morning, but any areas with big heavy rainfall that could result in some patchy fog, so something to keep an eye on as you get your morning commute for your Thursday underway. But after we get past a chilly start of the morning, partly sunny skies, a very slim chance for a random shower, but tomorrow's looking really good. 56 in the morning, 73 by noon, a high of 77. All due to more sunshine on the way, and the west breeze pretty light at about 5 miles per hour. Mostly clear, looking okay for Friday morning, and we'll go mostly sunny. Something, again, I haven't been able to say for quite a while, with highs going back into the lower 80s. So while we're good to start the weekend out, a new upper low will develop across Texas. By Saturday, the jet stream will start to grab it, pull some moisture our way. That could result in a few thunderstorms on Saturday, but the better rain chances will be eager to return starting Sunday and through the early part of next week. In the meantime, a few dry days overall to enjoy. And finally, warmer temperatures. 77 tomorrow, lower 80s Friday and Saturday, and staying mainly near 80 into next week.
And drying out a bit.
About time, too.
You bet. Thanks, Nick. Coming up, Walmart announces its new extended store hours. First, though, we honor a local veteran. John Turchek served in the U.S. Air Force from 1966 to 1970. His hometown, Coffeyville, Kansas. And we salute Staff Sergeant John Turchek, a four-state hero.
Really having an experience here. This is
Top in Consumer Watch, Walmart is extending store hours for the first time since the pandemic began. Starting Saturday, the nation's biggest retailer will be open from 6 in the morning to 11 at night. Company officials say they're adjusting the hours again since the number of fully vaccinated Americans continues to grow. A date is set. Amazon's annual Prime Day event will be held on June 21st and 22nd this year. The e-commerce giant says consumers will see more than 2 million deals. To get the deals, you have to be a member of its Prime subscription service. People who are on government assistance can receive a discount and pay $5.99 a month for that service. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has paid out around $85 million in funeral expenses to families who lost loved ones to the coronavirus. But this program is out of reach for many because of death certificates that do not mention COVID-19. Reporter Manuel Ballorcas spoke to one Florida family navigating the red tape.
He was full of life. He
Yes.
has more energy than me.
And me too.
I did not expect that at all.
Alexandra Hanau's father, Ricardo Zamudio, died last year from COVID-19. And that's the cause listed on his death certificate. So she's eligible for up to $9,000 in FEMA funeral assistance, a big help for these working parents.
For us, financial-wise, it'll be a good help, but at the same time, money don't mean anything. We honestly wish we had our parents back,
Of course.
more than anything.
Oscar Hanau's father, Oscar Sr., died 6 months later at 82.
The day before he died, I had the opportunity to actually hold him, see him, kiss him, and thank him for everything he has done.
They say he died from COVID-19 after testing positive weeks before his death.
He was COVID-19, but it wasn't on the death certificate.
What happened there?
Honestly, I didn't know what happened because when the funeral home asked us, what he died from, they verified it, everything was, COVID-19, but it wasn't placed on the death certificate.
FEMA's $2 billion assistance program is the largest of its kind in the nation's history, but eligibility is strictly limited to loved ones who present death certificates stating the death was caused by, may have been caused by, or was likely a result of COVID-19.
It is a process, and in that process, one step is to make sure that COVID-19 is mentioned on the death certificate.
Mark Pansiera, a partner at Boyd Pansiera Family Funeral Care, has been guiding families through the FEMA process, including helping to amend death certificates.
Your part could be considered done here, but some families are still coming back to you to say, hey, can we get a little more help?
This just adds another element in it, and we want to be that guide on the side, if you will, for the family.
Earlier this month, FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell told CBS News that the process is intentionally rigorous to protect against fraud.
We've put controls in place to make sure that we can identify that and try to reduce any potential opportunities for people to take advantage of that program when they shouldn't be.
Manuel Bajorquez, CBS News.
This could especially be a problem for those whose loved ones died early on in the pandemic when testing was insufficient or doctors did not know to list COVID-19 as the cause. FEMA says, as with any new program, it continues to review and update the process for any changes that need to be made. A one-of-a-kind manicure robot is nailing down new clients. No small talk needed. The robotic device paints nails by taking photos of each finger before polishing it. Process takes about 10 minutes, costs $8. The bot resides in San Francisco for now, but the company expects to replicate the automated manicure experience in other locations in the future. Our pet vet on call next.
If you see news happening, tell us.
The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to learn more about a new Kansas law offering a drug treatment program to low-level felons. Plus, authorities in Purcell, Missouri charge the former mayor pro tem with stealing from the town, and what Kansas officials say is behind a 9% increase in abortions performed in the state. Stay with us. CBS Evening News, KOAM News at 6. We want to keep our pets in the best health they can be, but something like brushing their teeth can be difficult and forgettable. Today's question for our pet vet on call is, how often do I brush my dog's teeth?
Ideally, daily. When plaque is left on the teeth and you don't brush it off within 24 hours, it hardens to tartar, and then it almost takes a chisel to crack it off. If you don't have the time, the energy, for whatever reason to do that, which I don't, then professional dentistries on a regular basis are very important for the overall health of your dog.
If you have a question, whether it's about a weird habit of your pet, a health concern, whatever, just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudak from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question every Wednesday. KOAM News at 5. Now our picks of the litter for the week. From the Joplin Humane Society, we've chosen this adult female Siamese cat named Foxy. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, a 3-year-old American Blue Heeler mix named Oreo. For obvious reasons. If you're looking for a pet, remember to check out your local Humane Society. Weather not bad at the moment, Nick.
No, can't rule out a random shower or storm, but most of us will be dry this evening and for the next 2 days at least. 77 tomorrow, again a random storm tomorrow afternoon possible, but most will be dry. Mostly sunny Friday, highs are 81. We'll enjoy that and a mainly dry Saturday as well, before thunderstorm chances are eager to ramp back up going into next week now.
Thanks for joining us. CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's take care of ourselves and each other and make it a great evening.